You ever wake up one morning, look in the mirror, and feel like you were made for more, but you're not living it yet? You know, you've got the potential, the dreams, the fire somewhere inside you, but life, responsibilities, fear, maybe just the noise of the world got in the way. I know that feeling, I lived it. For years, I was chasing success, chasing approval, chasing things that were supposed to make me happy. And yet I woke up every morning feeling empty. Here's what no one told me: your life doesn't change when you get more. It changes when you become more. And it all begins with one simple decision: to own your mornings. The way you start your day shapes the energy, the focus, the destiny of your life. If you can master the first hour of your morning, you can rewrite the next decade of your life. Today, I'm going to share with you 15 life lessons I wish I knew sooner. Powerful morning habit that changed everything for me. And it can change everything for you too. But here's my promise. If you stay with me till the end, this won't just be another motivational talk. It'll be a turning point. Because what you're about to hear has the power to shift the way you wake up, the way you think, and the way you live. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's begin. You know, the first lesson that changed everything for me, the one that completely transformed the way I live, think, and create my life, was this: the moment you decide to own your mornings, you begin to own your destiny. Most people wake up every day already behind. They hit the snooze button, check their phone, scroll through other people's lives, and start reacting before they've even taken a breath for themselves. Think about that. The first few minutes of your day, your mind is the most open, the most vulnerable, the most programmable. You give it away to distraction, to noise, to stress. And then we wonder why our days feel chaotic, why we feel drained. We feel like we're chasing life instead of leading it. If there's one thing I wish I had known sooner, it's this: the way you start your day is the foundation for everything that follows. It's not just about waking up early, it's about waking up on purpose. Because the truth is, your morning is a mirror. It reflects what you value, what you focus on, and what kind of life you're creating. I started studying the patterns of high performers, extraordinary leaders, people who seem to create momentum in their lives no matter what. I realized they all had something in common. They didn't just have mornings. They owned them. They treated that first hour like sacred ground. No chaos, no distraction, no external noise. Just intention, movement, gratitude, and clarity. And here's the crazy part: you don't need to be a millionaire, a CEO, or a guru to do this. You just need to decide that you are worth the first hour of your day. Because if you don't claim that space, the world will fill it for you. And the world will fill it with everything that drains you: notifications, negativity, opinions, and demands. You own your morning. You take back control of your emotional state. You prime your mind and body to create, to lead, to serve. You stop letting life happen to you, and you start happening to life. That's where real power begins. Not when everything is perfect, not when you have more time, but when you make the decision that your energy and focus are non-negotiable. For me, it started simple. I said to myself, no phone for the first hour. That one commitment changed my entire emotional landscape. Instead of starting my day reacting to messages, news, and problems, I started by connecting with myself, by asking, what kind of energy do I want to bring into this day? And that's a question you need to ask yourself every morning, because if you don't consciously decide your emotional state, your environment will decide it for you. You'll absorb the stress, the noise, the drama that's constantly around you. But when you begin the day with intention, with movement, gratitude, and clarity, you begin to generate energy instead of leaking it. Here's what happens when you start doing that consistently. Relationships shift, your focus sharpens, your productivity skyrockets. You stop reacting to small things that used to bother you. You stop rushing. You start feeling your life again. You walk into the world with power in your step and purpose in your heart, and it's not about perfection. It's about alignment. You'll wake up tired, unmotivated, overwhelmed. That's normal, but that's when it matters most, because success isn't built on motivation. It's built on rituals. The moment you follow through on your morning routine, even when you don't feel like it, you train your brain to trust yourself. You build emotional muscle. You prove that you are in charge. Your morning becomes your training ground for the rest of your day. It's where you condition your mind to focus on gratitude instead of lack, possibilities instead of problems, solutions instead of excuses. It's where you remind yourself who you are and what you're capable of. You can't create a powerful life from a powerless morning. You can't live with clarity if you start your day in chaos. The energy you bring into your first hour is the same energy that will shape your next 24. So what if starting tomorrow you decided to reclaim your morning? You don't need to do it all at once. Start small. 5 minutes of silence, 10 minutes of movement, a few moments of gratitude for the things you already have. Take that time to breathe, to visualize, to connect with a part of you that's hungry for growth. Because here's the truth. Every great life is built in the small, seen moments when no one's watching. The quiet decisions you make before the world wakes up. Those are the decisions that build your future. Owning your mornings isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about starting your day from a place of strength. It's about reminding yourself that your life is not an accident, it's a choice. And every sunrise gives you another chance to make that choice consciously. So tomorrow morning, that alarm goes off. Don't hit snooze on your potential. Don't start your day by scrolling through someone else's life. Sit up, Take a deep breath. Feel your heart beat. Remind yourself that you're still here. You still have time. Today is another opportunity to lead your life instead of reacting to it. Because the moment you own your morning, you begin to own your life. Your mind is the most powerful force you will ever possess. It can create a masterpiece out of your life. It can quietly destroy it one limiting thought at a time. The mind is your greatest asset or your biggest prison. And most people are living trapped inside their own thoughts without even realizing it. Spend so much of our lives trying to fix what's outside, our jobs, our relationships, our appearance, our circumstances, but almost no time mastering what's happening inside. Yet everything you experience, every emotion, every success or failure begins in one place, your mind. You don't see life as it is, you see life as you are. And if your thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, comparison, or guilt, you're going to filter the world through that lens. When I finally understood this, it shook me because I realized that for years I wasn't fighting the world, I was fighting myself. My mind was running old stories. You're not enough. You're behind. You'll never catch up. Stories I didn't even remember agreeing to. Maybe they came from childhood, maybe from failure, maybe from someone else's opinion that I accepted as truth. But they ran in the background, shaping my emotions, my energy, my choices. And that's what happens for so many people. Live inside an invisible pattern. Thoughts we didn't consciously choose, emotions we didn't fully process, beliefs we never questioned. The result, we end up building a life that fits our limitations instead of our potential. But here's the truth, not your thoughts. You are the thinker behind them. The moment you realize that, you take your power back. You can choose what to focus on. You can choose what to believe. You can choose what meaning to give to what happens to you. That choice, that moment of awareness, is where transformation begins. If you constantly focus on what's missing, you'll live in a state of lack. If you constantly focus on what's wrong, you'll live in frustration. If you train your mind to focus on what's good, what's growing, what's possible, you'll begin to create energy, clarity, and gratitude in every area of your life. Your focus determines your feeling, and your feeling determines your action. Think about it, two people can face the same challenge. One feels defeated, the other feels driven. What's the difference? It's not the event, it's the meaning they gave it. Your mind is always creating meaning. The question is, you doing it consciously or unconsciously? That's why mastering your mind isn't about ignoring negative thoughts. It's about interrupting the pattern and replacing it with something more empowering. Every time you feel fear, doubt, or overwhelm, stop and ask yourself, what else could this mean? What else could I focus on right now? You have to train your mind the same way an athlete trains their body. You wouldn't expect to get fit by going to the gym once. In the same way, you can't expect mental strength by reading one book or watching one video. It's a daily practice. Every morning, you condition your mind through what you focus on, what you say to yourself, and what you visualize. That's how you build mental toughness. I'll tell you something, your thoughts are not always telling you the truth. They're telling you your fears. Your mind's job is to protect you, not to fulfill you. It looks for danger, not opportunity. So if you let it run wild, we'll always focus on what could go wrong, what might fail, what you might lose. But fulfillment, growth, and happiness come when you step beyond that fear and start directing your focus toward possibility. Some people wait for confidence to appear before taking action, but confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first. Confidence is simply the evidence of your own capability. Every time you push past fear, every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you choose courage over comfort, your mind learns that you can be trusted. That's how you rewire your brain for power instead of panic. It's about shifting from I can't to how can I, from I'm not enough to I'm becoming more, from what if I fail to what if I fly. That shift seems small, but it changes everything because your life follows the direction of your dominant thoughts. And let's be honest, we all have moments where our minds get loud with doubt, where the voice inside whispers, who are you to do this? But the secret is, everyone hears that voice. The difference between people who rise and those who stay stuck is that one group listens and the other chooses to speak louder. You've got to be louder than your fear. You've got to remind yourself daily, I am not my past. I am not my mistakes. I am not my circumstances. I am the creator of my focus, and my focus creates my future. You can have the most beautiful goals, the most detailed plans, but if your mind is filled with fear and self-sabotage, nothing will stick. You'll find a way to talk yourself out of your own greatness. But when you master your mind, everything changes. You start responding instead of reacting. You start creating instead of complaining. You start building momentum instead of waiting for motivation. So starting today, protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Choose thoughts that build you. Speak words that strengthen you. Feed your mind with what inspires you, what drains you. Because the moment you master your mind, you begin to master your life. Pain is one of life's greatest teachers, but most people spend their entire lives running from it. Taught that pain is something bad, something to avoid, to numb, to escape. But the truth is, pain isn't punishment. It's feedback. It's life trying to get your attention, trying to grow you, trying to pull you towards something greater. Pain is a signal, not a sentence. Every one of us has gone through something that shook us to the core. A betrayal, a failure, a moment where we questioned everything. And in those moments, it's easy to feel like life is breaking you. But what if Those moments, life isn't breaking you, it's building you. What if the pain you're trying to avoid is the very thing that's preparing you for the next level of your life? When you start to see pain differently, everything changes. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That single shift in perspective gives you back your power. Because when you see pain as the enemy, you stay stuck in it. When you see pain as your coach, you start to grow through. I remember times in my life when I thought I was losing everything, moments of failure, rejection, heartbreak. At the time, I couldn't see it, but looking back, those moments were the exact experiences that shaped my strength, my empathy, my drive. The pain was forcing me to evolve. It was pushing me to become the version of myself I was meant to be. Think about your own life. Just experiences, the times when you felt like you couldn't breathe, when you didn't know how you'd get through. Those are the very moments that gave you depth, compassion, wisdom. Pain refines you. It burns away what's weak, false, what's holding you back. It's not there to destroy you, it's there to reveal you. But here's the problem. Most people never allow that transformation to happen. They get stuck in the story. They start saying, this always happens to me. Life's unfair. I can't trust anyone. They start identifying with the pain instead of learning from it. And when you identify with pain, you give it power over you. You carry it into your future, replaying the same emotions, the same situations over and over again. But the truth is, pain is temporary. It's a message. It's your mind and body saying something needs to change. When you listen, when you lean in instead of running away, that's when you begin to heal. That's when you begin to grow. There's a difference between being hurt and being held back by hurt. Everyone gets hurt, but not everyone decides to use that hurt as fuel. You can let pain harden you. You can let it shape you. You can let it close your heart, or you can let it open your soul. The choice is yours. You can't avoid pain in life, but you can decide how it will define you. Some people go through pain and come out bitter. Others come out better. The difference is the meaning they give it. And that's the power you always have, the power to choose meaning. When something painful happens, you can choose to see it as proof that life is unfair. You can choose to see it as an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more alive. Because life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Every challenge, every loss, every heartbreak is designed to wake you up to your strength. There's a certain kind of beauty that only exists in people who have suffered and healed. They carry a different presence. They don't break easily. They understand others more deeply. They've faced the darkness and they know how to create light. That's what pain does when you let it work through you. It deepens your humanity. And I want you to hear this. You are not your pain. What happened to you is not who you are. What you went through doesn't define you. How you rise from it does. The pain you've endured is not proof that you're broken. It's proof that you're alive, that you've loved, that you've cared enough to feel. So instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what now? Instead of reliving the hurt, start rewriting the story. Take the lesson, take the strength, take the awareness, leave the rest behind. Every time you do that, you turn your wounds into wisdom, your setbacks into comebacks, your pain into purpose. Because in the end, pain is not there to stop you. It's there to sculpt you into the person you were meant to become. And once you realize that, once you truly understand that life's greatest pain often hides life's greatest gifts, you stop running from it. You start using it. You start living with power, with gratitude, with depth. Because the moment you stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as preparation, that's the moment you begin to transform your life. Energy, it's invisible. It's everything. It shapes how you think, how you speak, how you connect, how you lead, and how people respond to you. You can walk into a room without saying a single word, and people will feel your energy before they ever hear your voice. Because your energy introduces you long before you speak. We all know that feeling when someone walks in and instantly lifts the space. They have this presence, this aliveness, this grounded confidence that makes everyone around them feel elevated. We also know the opposite. When someone shows up heavy, negative, drained, and suddenly the whole room feels colder, smaller. That's the power of energy. It's contagious. You're always transmitting something, you realize it or not. The truth is, most people move through life reacting to energy instead of creating it. They wake up tired, they go through the motions, and they let the world decide how they're going to feel that day. They say things like, I'm not in the mood, or I just don't have the energy. But here's what I learned. Energy isn't something you have. It's something you generate. When you start taking ownership of your energy, everything begins to change. You start realizing that your energy is your responsibility. You don't wait for good circumstances to feel good. You decide to show up with power, with presence, with life, because how you show up determines what you get back. If you bring uncertainty, doubt, or fear into your day, you'll attract more of that. If you bring passion, gratitude, and focus, you'll start to experience more of those things. Life reflects what you project. It's a mirror. The energy you put out is the energy that comes back. Think about this. Every morning you have a chance to set the tone for your entire day. When you wake up and move your body, breathe deeply, focus your mind, and fill your heart with gratitude, you're not just doing a routine. You're charging your system. You're generating energy from the inside out. You're creating momentum before the world even touches you. But when you start your day checking your phone, scrolling through other people's lives, Complaining about what's wrong, you're immediately draining your power. You're leaking energy before the day even starts. And when you do that over and over again, you start believing that fatigue is normal, that stress is inevitable, that excitement is something you only feel once in a while. But it's not. You can feel alive every day if you take control of your energy. You can't lead others if you can't lead your own state. You can't influence people if you're constantly being influenced by your emotions. The moment you realize that energy is something you can change in an instant through movement, focus, breathing, language, you realize that you're not a victim of your moods. You are the creator of your state. I've seen people in some of the darkest moments of their lives completely shift their emotional state in minutes by changing their physiology, by moving, by breathing, by breaking the pattern of low energy. When you stand tall, you move with purpose. When you breathe deeply, your brain starts releasing different chemicals. Your emotions follow your motion. So many people wait to feel good before they act, but that's not how it works. You have to act your way into feeling good. You have to generate that aliveness through intentional habits, the way you move, the way you think, the way you speak. You can't just hope for energy, you have to command it. That's the secret. Energy is not about caffeine or sleep or luck. It's about alignment. When you live out of alignment with what matters to you, when you spend your time doing things that drain your soul, you'll always feel tired, no matter how much you rest. But when you start living with purpose, when you do things that excite you, that challenge you, that means something. Energy begins to flow naturally because energy follows purpose. Every time you connect to gratitude, you raise your vibration. Every time you move with intention, you expand your energy. Every time you speak life, instead of complaining, you create power within yourself. That's how leaders move. That's how people with impact live. They don't wait for permission to feel alive. They decide to be the thermostat in every room, not the thermometer. They don't just reflect the energy. They set it. When you walk into a meeting, when you enter your home, when you're with your family, ask yourself, what energy am I bringing right now? Am I adding or am I draining? Am I leading or am I leaking? Because every moment you're influencing the people around you, even with your silence, your body language, your tone. If you want to change your relationships, your career, your results, start by changing your energy. Show up with life. Show up with intention. People won't remember every word you say, but they will never forget how your energy made them feel. That's what leaves a mark. That's what builds trust, influence, and connection. Your energy is your greatest currency. Guard it, cultivate it, multiply it. Stop wasting it on things that drain you. Gossip, fear, resentment, and start investing it in things that fuel you, purpose, gratitude, growth, and love. Because the moment you realize that you are the source of your own energy, you stop waiting for life to light you up, and you start lighting up life. One of the greatest lessons I learned the hard way is that willpower alone is not enough. You can have the strongest desire, the best plan, the biggest dreams, but if your environment doesn't support them, eventually your environment will win. Because the truth is, environment is stronger than willpower. Like to believe we're in full control, that we can resist temptation, push through distractions, rise above negativity. But no matter how strong you are, if you're surrounded by the wrong energy, the wrong people, or the wrong patterns, we'll get pulled back into old habits. Not because you're weak, but because your environment is constantly shaping you, silently influencing how you think, feel, and act. You can't plant a seed in toxic soil and expect it to grow. Yet that's what so many people try to do with their lives. They try to grow while surrounded by negativity. They try to heal while staying in the same environment that broke them. They try to dream big while spending every day around people who think small. It doesn't work. If you're constantly around people who complain, who gossip, who settle for less, who drain your energy, eventually you start to absorb that. You start lowering your standards just to fit in. You stop sharing your dreams because you're tired of being told they're unrealistic. You stop taking risks because everyone around you plays it safe. And slowly, without even realizing it, you start shrinking into a version of yourself that fits the room instead of expanding into the one you were meant to become. That's why the people you spend time with matter more than you can imagine. You don't need a huge circle. You need a powerful one, people who challenge you to grow, who call out your excuses, who celebrate your progress, who remind you of your strength when you forget it. You need people who see the greatness in you, even when you can't see it yourself. But it's not just about people. It's about everything that surrounds you. Your home, your workspace, the media you consume, the routines you keep, the energy you allow into your world. Everything you see, hear, experience is programming your mind. Every environment either pulls you forward or holds you back. If you want to change your life, start by changing what surrounds you. Clean your space. Declutter your digital world. Fill your environment with reminders of who you want to become, not who you used to be. Listen to things that inspire you. Watch things that educate you. Read things that expand you. Every time you do that, reconditioning your environment to match your vision. And let's be real. Sometimes the hardest part of growth is outgrowing the people and places that once felt comfortable. You might have to distance yourself from people who don't want to grow. You might have to let go of familiar habits that feel safe, but keep you small. Growth is uncomfortable because it demands that you move into alignment with your higher self, even when it means walking away from what's familiar. But that's the price of evolution. You can't become who you're meant to be while staying in the same energy that made you who you are now. You've got to be intentional about creating an environment that supports your next chapter, because environment isn't just a backdrop, it's a builder. It either builds your strength or it builds your stress. It either feeds your faith or it fuels your fear. Ask yourself right now, what environments are lifting me up and what environments are weighing me down? Who do I feel energized around and who do I feel drained around? Habits in my environment are helping me grow, and which ones are quietly holding me back? Once you get honest with those answers, you'll know exactly where change needs to happen. Because no matter how motivated you are, you can't stay on fire in a cold environment. You can't expect to feel inspired when everything around you is pulling your focus away from what matters. You have to design your world so that success becomes the path of least resistance. Surround yourself with people and environments that make your good habits automatic and your bad habits inconvenient. This is why some people seem to grow effortlessly. It's not that they're more disciplined. It's that their environment supports their discipline. Their surroundings are aligned with their goals. They've built systems that make success easier than failure. If you want to transform your life, start building an ecosystem that reflects the person you're becoming. Maybe that means joining a new community, finding a mentor, changing your workspace, or even spending more time in nature to reconnect with your energy. Whatever it is, underestimate the power of your surroundings, because when your environment is right, everything else flows. You stop fighting against yourself. You stop wasting energy on resistance. You start to feel lighter, more focused, more alive. You begin to thrive instead of just survive. So protect your space like your future depends on it, because it does. Your environment will either pull you toward your destiny or keep you anchored to your past. Because the moment you design an environment that supports your growth, you stop fighting for change and you start naturally becoming it. Gratitude is the most powerful emotion you can experience. It's not just a feel-good practice. It's a state that rewires your brain, heals your heart, and transforms the way you see the world. It's impossible to live in fear, stress, or anger when you're truly living in gratitude. Because gratitude and fear cannot exist in the same moment. Gratitude is the gateway to joy, to peace, to abundance. It's the foundation of every meaningful and fulfilled life. Most people think gratitude is something you feel when things go right, when you get the promotion, when you hit your goals, when life looks the way you want it to. But real gratitude begins when you can feel it, even when things aren't perfect. You can look at your life with all its imperfections, challenges, and messiness, and still say, I'm thankful. That's power. That's freedom. You see, gratitude isn't about denying pain or pretending everything's okay. It's about shifting your focus from what's missing to what's already there, from what you've lost to what you've learned, from what's wrong to what's still right. And the moment you make that shift, your entire emotional state changes. Because what you focus on, you feel. You can't live a beautiful life if you're constantly focusing on what's broken. But when you choose gratitude, even for the smallest things, a breath, a sunrise, moment of connection, you start to reconnect with the magic of being alive. Begin to realize that life has been given to you all along, even when you weren't paying attention. I remember a time in my life when I felt like everything was falling apart. I was focused on what I didn't have, what I hadn't achieved, what wasn't working. The more I focused on it, the heavier everything became. Then one day someone asked me, "Are you grateful for right now?" And I couldn't answer, because I was so caught up in what was wrong that I couldn't see what was right. But I decided to try. I started small. I was grateful for my health, for the people who loved me, the lessons I was learning, even in pain. And something shifted. My energy changed. My outlook changed. Life didn't suddenly get easier, but I got stronger. Gratitude didn't change my circumstances. It changed me. You start your morning in a state of gratitude, you set the tone for your entire day. It's like tuning your mind to the right frequency. Suddenly you start noticing things you used to overlook. The kindness of a stranger, the beauty of the sky, the opportunities that were always there but hidden behind your stress. Gratitude opens your eyes. It raises your emotional vibration so that you begin to attract better energy, better people, better moments. It's not just a mental trick. It's biology. When you practice gratitude, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals that make you feel alive, joyful, connected. Over time, gratitude literally reprograms your brain to look for the good instead of the bad. You train your mind to see opportunity where others see obstacles, to find calm where others find chaos. That's why gratitude is the ultimate morning habit that changes everything. It's simple, but it's powerful. You don't need to meditate for an hour or read a dozen affirmations. You just need to take a few moments every morning and ask, can I be grateful for right now? Even when life feels heavy, there's always something. Breath in your lungs, strength in your body, lessons in your struggle. When you start from that space, you move through the world differently. You speak differently. You treat people differently. You live with more peace and less pressure, because gratitude breaks the cycle of I'll be happy when. You know that cycle. I'll be happy when I make more money. Be happy when I lose weight. I'll be happy when I finally get there. The problem is when you finally get there, your brain just moves the finish line. Gratitude brings happiness into the now. It reminds you that you don't need to wait for someday to feel fulfilled. You can feel it right here, right now. And the more grateful you become, the more abundance flows into your life. Not because magic happens, because you start showing up differently. You start attracting opportunities instead of chasing them. You start creating from a place of fullness instead of lack. When you live with gratitude, you stop needing more to feel enough. And ironically, that's when more begins to show up. Gratitude turns ordinary days into miracles, challenges into lessons, and strangers into blessings. It changes the way you love, the way you lead, the way you live. It reminds you that even on your hardest days, life is still giving to you through breath, through growth, through moments that shape your heart in ways success never could. So as you move through your life, make gratitude your default setting, not just when everything's working, especially when it's not. When you wake up, take a moment to feel thankful before you even get out of bed. When you're facing stress, pause and find something beautiful in the middle of it. When you go to sleep, reflect on what went right instead of what went wrong. Because every time you choose gratitude, you shift your energy, you reconnect with the abundance that's already within you. You stop chasing happiness and start living it. Because the moment you begin to live in gratitude, you realize that everything you've ever needed was already right in front of you.